Yes, everybody, and welcome to Vapecast episode 3. Oh, yes, so it's been that popular and it's been broadcast globally that we're going into our third ever episode. Shock, horror. Hope you're all good, Mr. Jake Vapes. I hope you're feeling well. I know you've been struggling a bit with the old toothache.
Nah, mate, ain't no thing, ain't no thing. When it comes to the vape guys like you know what I mean? I've got to put my dedication in, and
Give it all
I'm
that
dying of
YouTube.
death,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, dying of death. You've caught me in the good hour of the 24s that I'm awake for. Not that I'm
Well,
awake 24
it's
hours, but yeah.
it's good that we've caught you during a good time, so we can have a bit of a chit chat and basically just cover some things that we have seen in the vape world, and then discuss what we think they might mean, what they might lead to. And again, it's just our opinions. We're just two people that sit down and talk at televisions all day. So why would you listen to us? But
Well, before we go into any, dates and all that stuff, people want to know what we're vaping on. Because, John, I'm sure you're on a different juice to what you're normally on and a different device. Always.
well, I have been juggling between two. I have been using the Chroma 217 Z Force. I did see somewhere somebody say that the tank was fantastic for flavour. I would say that's an exaggeration. It's definitely not fantastic. It's the best I've had from Inikin in a good while. Not the best I've had from Inikin, but that would be more to do with a different device. Yes, the MVP for me has produced very very good flavour for such a small tight draw system. But yeah, I mean it's delivering flavour. So it's something that I've been able to use, and yeah, it did get better with usage. It's a nice tank. Just wish the coil was that little bit better, because then it would be an absolutely superb tank. But
I don't know about you. My puff count, like normally, is way higher than yours. I'm currently sat at exactly 499. I'm going to assume you're probably nearer 1,000.
I would be nearer 1,000. I'm at 480, so not massively nearer 1,000, but still nearer 1,000.
I'm at 499.
I'm at 580.
Right. Okay. So
81.
I expected more, but I don't know the core life, and obviously John doesn't know.
I have a problem, and again, I guess this is probably more a reviewer problem.
Have you tried the cream?
No, I've been through all the different varieties, mate. Still itches like a trooper. But no, I find, so I'll be using a device and I'll be like, yeah, this is all right, and I'll be getting along with it. And then I'll make the mistake of going back to my QP and I'll be like, oh, this is so much better. And then the device will kind of get put on the back burner, and it'll be like, I really need to get back onto that and just make sure that I am fully true with how it's performing. But when the flavor is so good from your normal device, it does make me kind of forget.
I have a tendency to go between, unless the device that we're meant to be reviewing is like 9, 10 out of 10, bang on the money, and you're like, nothing I would change. This is my daily. And it's happened to us both before, but I really, I don't know if you saw John's on camera. For anyone that isn't watching and just listening in the background, you can look at the video as well. But mine's a snazzy blue Mariana, and John has got like the stab wood effect in there.
Mine's fake wood, which for me, I just think don't do fake wood in a sticker, because it just doesn't look the part. The resin effect,
amazing.
You can cover the resin effect nicely in a sticker without too much. But when it comes to the wood, for me, it just doesn't come across from a distance. Yeah, it looks all right, but for ownership, for having it in hand, it's a little bit. Nah, as I say, I think there's better finishes. The likes of the carbon, the likes of the outright resins work a lot better for me.
I quite like the fact that mine's brushed aluminium effect, or is brushed aluminium. It might be some sort of zinc alloy, but it does look like brushed aluminium. John's got the matte black, and they do look amazing. They feel great in hand. 21,700, 2700, 18,650 with a really strong magnetic extension, So if you want to use an 18650, it's got that magnetic thing in there, so there's
Yeah,
no
the tube.
wobble, there's no looseness, and it's not just a normal rubber
Some
thing.
well thought out bits and bobs on it, definitely. But
Yeah,
well, yeah,
yeah.
we'll have some full
But as I
reviewage
said, coil
coming
life,
up shortly.
we don't know as of yet. What's the second device that you've been trooping around today then?
Well, I've been teetering between the Obelisk 65,
Ah,
which is still performing beautifully, for a short period of time for me. The problem with the 65 is it's one of those devices that gets weaker as the battery fades.
yeah.
So whilst it's performing at a higher level, I love it. But then as soon as it starts to drop a little bit, when it gets to about 3 bars, it just doesn't hit enough for me. So it goes
Is it
back.
the is it the Asmodus? There's other brands, but is it the Asmodus? Because that's what I've got in the end. Asmodus V3. That when you get to sort of 20%, 30% battery, it goes, nah, I'm not going to fire.
Yeah, the V2,
Yeah,
the V3. I'm assuming it's probably all of them because of the
all
chipset.
of the chipset. Yeah.
Yeah, it's there are devices that won't fire, and you'll find this. You'll put your batteries in one device and it'll fire. You'll put them in another device and it won't, and it'll be like, what?
Yeah, I prefer. I appreciate what you're saying. You get less of a hit, but I'd appreciate that more than just suddenly getting to. Oh, well, I've got 20% battery. That'll last me for the next 5 minutes. And it just going no.
It will. But the thing to think is it's damaging your batteries, because the reason why the brains are there is to stop the batteries from getting too discharged, and that's why
Yeah.
it stops it. It says, I can't deliver that wattage. It's just not going to work. You either turn it down or
But that's what the other chipsets do. They don't deliver that wattage. They
no,
bring
they
it
don't.
down.
But for me, is
Yeah.
it are they struggling? Are they actually using brains, or are they just like really properly straining that battery?
Well, I suppose without looking into it and speaking to them, we have to take their word for it. But myself, I am on the lovely Nevox. So there you go. If you are
Gee,
watching camera, Nevox
pumpy.
Paggi. I am using the rebuildable, and it is supplied with a zero point 0.8 ohm that you build yourself, put in there, and with the cotton and all that jazzmatazz. Sadly, 10 watts. I'm 486 puffs in, and flavor steaks 7 or 8 out of 10. So it's not bad for how small it is. Great and amazing for vapor production. However, I think a 1 ohm coil would make a world of difference, would increase the flavor and vapor production. But I have yet to convince John to make me one and send it out. So if there's anyone watching this that makes coils, that could do one.
Well, anyone that can recommend a
Yeah,
brand that does a pretty freaking awesome mouth to lung
that's it.
specific coil, because Jake, you are dangerously teetering in the world of the AIO.
I am more. I'm liking the fact that I can change the coils and still have that old pod jobby, just hit and go, not having to refill all the time, and it doesn't drink the juice. Unlike what we just mentioned, the Chroma.
Yeah, it's
I
a
don't know
thirsty
if
tank.
you've. I don't know if you've noticed. Yeah, it does drink the juice.
Oh,
Now I'm not knocking it for that.
I had to get a fat glass for it, and luckily I managed to find a different tank. So if
Yeah,
anybody happens to have an Org Vape intake sub-ohm tank that they've got lying around, the fat glass from that fits perfectly on the Z Force. So I do have a fatter tank, and that was a saving grace, because 2 mil seemed to be gone in like 15 minutes. It was
I was just say I'm 20 puffs and refilling, and yeah,
incredibly thirsty. Well,
so that's what I'm on. The rebuildable is a new design just out by Nevox. So if you do own a Paggi and you're sort of like, I like the pods, but I don't want to keep buying pods, and you're into your RBAs, which is basically what this is essentially, you can buy it separate. It's that little metal segment on the bottom. If you are watching this, if you are just listening, basically it's an RBA that you can build your own coil in,
well, I
and you
think
can choose.
in the market at the moment, the AIOs have massively, within the last sort of 6 months, massively picked up momentum. And it seems that anybody with a 3D printer can print themselves off a design now. And I've seen some absolutely fantastic designs, and with all the Burrow and Bridges that are available, it's becoming the in thing pretty much everywhere. And the likes of Cherry Pine have emerged with some cracking devices. I know Voltrove just released their borough, and it's getting some very good reviews. Although, as always with these things, there is some unscrupulous characters out there impersonating the producers and trying to sell items without, well, obviously not being that person. So you've got to be careful where you're buying these things.
Have you got names? I
think it's Michael Mathis. I think is the guy behind Voltrove, and he had somebody basically impersonated him and was trying to sell people the Voltrove RBA. Ooh. And people were, I think a couple of people bought it, paid family and friends, and subsequently that's it, money's gone, you know. So just got to be careful.
That's there is positive next to it. The thing that I don't know, you've mentioned this a few times. Once you go down that rabbit hole, maybe not in for thousands, but at least hundreds of pounds when you go down the proper, and I'll say proper loosely, AIO route. Whereas if you buy the RBA for this, you're talking 20 quid. The device, you're talking 20 quid, and it does deliver. It's not going to be the same flavor stakes and vapor reduction as when you're paying 100, etc. But it's the same as when you buy a mech that you pay £100 for, or you pay £400 for a mech. It's the same when you buy a regulated for 30 quid and you buy a regulated for 70. You'll notice slight differences, but I would say this is like your SXK sort of. You know what I mean?
It's your budget option, you know. It's your entry level into that to see. Actually, if you get on with that, then you would get on, and this is why the Vandy Vape has absolutely smashed it. Could be because price-wise, the Vandy Vape, you're talking around about the £50 mark to get the AIO if you shop around, and that is a superb price for what you're getting. And it's introduced a lot of people into that world, and they're absolutely loving it, which is great because it's innovative. You know, it's bespoke. There are so many different alternatives and modifications that you can do to these devices, and it's why billet boxes have remained the same and been successful for so long. It's just taken a while for everybody to realize that actually they are so useful in what they do. So I expect to see a lot more of those devices over the forthcoming definitely at least the next year.
One good function I like on this is you can adjust it so that it's auto draw. So you suck a vapor.
Don't need to worry about where the button is.
Yeah, or you can press the button and it vapes.
Does it do it at the same power?
Sorry, say again.
Does it do it at the same power? Because I know some devices give you less power.
Exactly the same. So you've got no issues there. The reason I like it is because, well, you know me, I go out every weekend clubbing and that, but certain vibrations, speakers, air currents, whatever, can set it off. Now, I don't know if you know this, if there's enough gust into the airflow or, you know, whatever, it can make it auto fire. So the fact that you can turn off that feature to protect it when you've got it in your pocket, not that I'd recommend putting any vape devices in your pocket, but if you're not using it, you know, if it's away, shall we say, it won't auto fire because you can turn that feature off. So you have to press the button to vape. And in a little device like this, if you suck and nothing comes out, you'll be like, oh yeah, I'll just hit the button. So it's got both those. You know, if you just want to auto fire without looking for the button, you want to hold it however, I would say, yeah, I like that feature, and I think every little pod should have that. But that's enough about what me and you are on, because that's been about 30 minutes already, John. What's cracking in the world of vape?
In a wonderful world of vape, and some good news coming out of Thailand. And the reason why I think it is good news is because they are talking about lifting their vaping ban, and they would be the first kind of I don't know how you categorize the countries, but the likes of the Philippines, the likes of, you know, the third world countries effectively that have these bans on e-cigarettes, and they're actually basically because of tobacco, because of the money that they get from tobacco. That's why they have these bans in place. Now, if Thailand turn around and recognize and say, well, actually, do you know what? Yeah, we've seen the difference that it makes it elsewhere for people's health, which is the most important thing, not the money that is being generated by cigarettes, then maybe we need to be more proactive in this situation rather than banning them. So lifting that ban could spell the beginning of the end of countries that have banned e-cigarettes and vaping. It will remain to be seen, but I think it is a significant step in that happening.
Definitely, definitely. Well, his name, the minister was Asa Sally Gupta.
Easy to
So I've
remember.
probably got the name a bit wrong, but it could be Asa, but it's Mr. Sally Gupta, and he's the director of ECST, which is End Cigarette Smoke Thailand. And he put this forward, and he's had loads of people coming at him with facts. So if a guy's not watching this, facts inverted commas, and trying to dispute him, and they have had no rollover. Basically, they've had to admit defeat when he's countered them.
Yeah, it's
And
disgraceful. Do you know what? I actually seen an American company just today, and they were broadcasting again about basically classifying tobacco and vaping as the same thing, and being really anti-vaping, and it's just like,
yeah,
how can, and what they were basically saying is lies, and it's like, how could you publicly, as an organization, publicly lie and get away with it?
yeah. Well, he's fought it, and they're going for the legalization. They've been working on it since 2000, or he has been working on it since 2018, and it's now looking like it will go through within the next 3 months. Now, there's no guarantee. Things can always get overpowered and whatever.
Pockets
But
can
he's
get
going with
filled.
the THR, which is tobacco harm reduction or reduce. I'm not
Probably reduction, yeah.
THR. Yeah, I think it's tobacco harm reduction, and they're saying that this policy is imminent. So
Fingers crossed.
it might be next election, next whatever, but they are in for the next 3 months. And yeah, John told me before we started this that he'd heard about it, the ECST, so the Ending Cigarette Smoke Thailand, and I'm all for it. We've done it in the US, in certain places, certain states, shall we say. We've done it in the UK, pretty much the whole continent. There isn't any sort of viable dispute to vaping in the UK and Ireland, Northern and South, and New Zealand. They are open to it as well.
Yeah.
Now, Australia, I don't get why there's
Again,
I don't know what you know about Australia, John, but it's
massive resistance in Australia as well, and
yeah. I don't get why. I don't.
Do you know what? I guess what it comes down to in these situations is that you get certain people in certain places, and they must be people of power, of significant power, and they're just those kind of people that just have this real passionate belief, and changing their mind is the all-conquering affair. And if you can get to those people and get them convinced the benefits of it, then you may start, knock the first domino over effectively. But I think, and I do think, and again, I'll throw disposables under the bus. I think the disposable pod systems are still and will stop vaping from ever being accepted in inverted commas. For every,
Do you think that disposables are? I appreciate what you just said. Obviously, you guys that are listening right now will know that I'm not 100% against disposables. John, however, is. But do you feel that disposables are making a hindrance on what is already accepted? So, as an example, say it's accepted in X, Y, and Z countries, and then people are okay maybe coming around to it, and disposables coming into the market have hindered it and made it.
I think what we're going to find, as we've already started to see, is we have started to see more headlines in a negative manner as a result of disposables. And if you look at all of the horror stories, pretty much every horror story or claimed issue with vaping has come as a consequence of either a disposable or a sealed pod system.
What about mechs? But
that's down to the electronical user error. It's not down to the actual, a physical, the issue from inducing the vapor. The people that are claiming that
I
they've,
was saying, but people won't care about the ins and outs. They will just see the
oh
headlines
yeah,
like
that's going to be a
"meth
statistic.
destroys person's leg," and
But if you look at the statistics and you look at how many people have been affected, as I say, it is predominantly the disposable seal pod world which are causing those problems. And the fact
yeah,
that they are, all it takes, all you got to do is go onto social media, just go onto Twitter, type in the name of a disposable, type in vape, scroll through all the comments, and you will see the majority of the people are I guess you call them Gen Z, whatever you want to call them, and they're
yeah.
using these devices, and they're all on disposables,
Well,
and they're the people
have
that they
you?
don't want. These politicians and what have you. These are the people that they don't want vaping. These are where
Yeah,
their issue is coming
their
about from,
money.
and they're doing it because they're using these blinking disposable systems.
They want the money. The governments want the money. That's basically it. Yeah. What's your opinion on Australia? So the sale and importation of nicotine. So basically, any short fill, basically any short fill, either
I think it's
a
mad. I
50 or
think
100 mil,
it's
is
hypocritical.
banned if it contains nicotine, and if it does contain nicotine, they need a prescription. Now, I'd say that's a lot better than the likes of India, where they've completely, pocket
Yeah,
banned
yeah.
it and just said completely banned. What's your opinion on a
You've got,
prescription needed?
controlling nicotine. Okay, yeah, that's it is. I mean, at the end of the day, it is a poison. It is addictive. But let's be realistic here. It's not harmful in the ingestion levels that are consumed when you vape. There are so many more harmful drugs that are even.
If it's regulated and under 20 milligram, I would say 50 milligram on a daily dose. If you did that daily,
I
10
think
mil, you
effectively. Hey, let's just look at the UK and let's just like replicate that worldwide because we
yeah,
don't have any issues. 20 milligram is enough, and we've seen, what is it, 50% more likely to quit via e-cigarettes in the UK than any other platform. So
we're up to as high as 70 now
do
with
you
a
know what I mean?
95% safety
It's
rating.
absolutely fantastic, and it is saving lives. Now you got, yeah, I get politicians, they want to look after people and what have you, but Australia, I know, and Australia's got the highest male suicide rate on the planet.
Oh,
And
I did not know that.
yep, their farming communities are so rural. I watched
Wow.
a program on it, and they have serious issues in other places that they should really be investing their times
Really?
and efforts where actually lives are being saved. Now, what we are doing with
Yeah.
the vaping instead of cigarettes is saving lives, and you're fighting against saving lives when you've got issues in your country that are costing lives that you really should be
Yeah.
focusing your efforts and attention to. I do understand why they think prescribing nicotine is a better way of doing it, but you're wasting doctors' time. Let's be realistic. You are wasting precious, important people's time
All right.
with
So,
something
so the
trivial.
Australia, the sale and importation of nicotine is illegal in Australia. You need a prescription if you want to get it. If you go to like Cambodia or India or places like that, completely banned. What do you think about Japan, where it's like basically banned by proxy that you can buy it, just has to be zero nicotine. So there's no prescription area. It just has to be zero nicotine.
Again, it's like, look, what we're trying to do here, we go on a journey, and we were always talking about this journey on the show. We're one of the most peculiar industries on the planet because we are taking somebody that has an addiction and we are helping them get off that addiction with a device, with the
Yeah.
end goal being that they're no longer going to want to purchase this device and be a part of our industry anymore.
So
We're not
you don't see it an issue that it's banned by a proxy, and it's okay if there's no nicotine containing.
if there's no nicotine containing, then you're making it so much harder for people that are coming off cigarettes. Um,
So what's your opinion on because like I'm leading on to a question here. So Singapore, don't know if you've heard this, and guys listening in the background, it's completely banned, and the possession, if it contains nicotine, so if you're found to have, I don't know, for guys watching, a 10 ml bottle that is just nicotine, normally 18 milligram for the UK or 15 milligram, you add it to your juice, make it up to a 3 or however many you want to add to your short fill, your 100 ml bottle. If you're found in possession in Singapore, you can be fined up to 1,500 Singapore dollars. I don't know the conversion, but I would say that's probably a grand UK money. Um, I just find that incredibly stupid because of the
Yes.
fact that to get the same nicotine, they could go and buy 20 cigarettes
Yeah, that's
from
what
a
they'll do.
shop that contain nicotine and not risk a $1,500
I
fine.
thought you were going to be more polite with your response because I was going to say moronic, quite simply, you know. And it, no,
Yeah.
you said that for me, like that for me paints an image of that country, and it is moronic. You know, you have got a government there that is again jeopardizing people's health for the only excuse is greed. Maybe it's not. Maybe there is a genuine, but no. Let's be realistic. Is what it comes down to. It comes down to tobacco money,
Yeah.
and the fight against this because yet again there is no science to support the counter. There is no
Yeah.
evidence. There is nothing out there that is saying that this is causing these problems. And you know, look how quickly COVID came about and became such a massive thing. And then they come up with these. You know, there ain't none of that for vaping, and we've been mainstream since 2003, and it's been around longer than that. So you know, let's focus on what actually needs to be done, and it is the regulation across the world. You know, we've seen it in the UK again. It's not another little area that we were going to cover. There's been more trading standards raids with counterfeit products and oversized products, so non-TPD compliant products, which are available elsewhere in the world. So they're still regulated. But then you've got the counterfeit products, and what is inside these counterfeit products, you don't know. You know, we need to be focusing on making sure that the planet is regulated as far as these products, because there is
It's not
potential
even
for
the
harm.
counterfeit. It's the imported. We'll say American because that's the common 50 milligram where you get it from. But yeah, the 50, the 75, the 100 well, there isn't hundreds, but the fact that we're 20, even a 50, that's 2.5 times stronger than what we are legally allowed. And so many, I'm going to say corner shops, you might call them convenience stores. Basically, you get your bread, your eggs, your milk, a bottle of pop, and
And an
then
illegal
it's
disposable.
50 mg disposable. That is I'm against. And even if it was a 20 milligram, I'm against because when someone comes in and goes, "Oh yeah, I smoke about I don't know 1 or 2 fags a week. Oh, here's a 20 milligram disposable." No, that is the same as 20 fags. They're not going to know that. They're going to puff it the same as they would puff a normal fag.
Yeah,
They're going to get the end of the I don't know the devices, but
getting
say
massively more
the
addicted to
average
nicotine.
is the average puff is about 500 puffs. So if they did that in a day, quite easily done. I'm on 510 on this. That's sorry on the Paggi, 510 puffs, and that's in 2 days. So yeah, 2 days. That's 20 fags. So that person that went in there was on 1 or 2 fags. Person behind the counter doesn't know about it vaping. You know they shouldn't be allowed to sell vape products.
What if they sold them at 50? Then that's the equivalent of them. Do
Even worse.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They're smoking over
that's like
twice
50 fags.
the amount exactly. And then again,
Yeah,
it's the same with these systems that have a lot more liquid inside of them. And you know, because again, you don't have that same stop point as you do when your small disposable runs out. You know, a sealed.
exactly. I think there should be a license for stockholders. Like if you hold stock of vaping devices, be it disposable or whatever, all the way up to regulated sub-M kits, they should have to have a license to sell them. And if they can't afford that license, they shouldn't sell them.
Supermarkets, you know, and again, as far as we're aware, we haven't seen any headlines where supermarkets have been selling.
There is a vape shop in a Sainsbury's, and they are like, I'm not going to say a brand, but let's just think of a vape shop. Imagine that, and those staff being inside of Sainsbury's. There is a
Yeah.
big Sainsbury's that has that
Oh,
in there.
that's you know,
That is perfect. Don't have an
that's
issue.
where we should be heading. But what I was saying is that you won't have found the supermarkets that sell them over the counter, or the big chain petrol stations with these devices.
Yeah,
It's the unscrupulous. It's some vape stores. There are vape stores that have been caught doing it. But yeah, mainly the convenience stores that are trying to slip these under the counter kind of thing, for a quick buck. And that's for me what disposables are all about. And that's why they're going to cause us so many headaches, is because there's too many people wanting this quick buck from these devices.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Well, we could chat for hours on
Oh, we
that,
could.
but I don't think the key issue is disposables. I think it is just countries clocking in on where they can make money, trying to ban vaping because they're against a healthier option because they can't make money off it. And as you said, there is some people out there that are just trying to clock in on, oh yeah, this is the hype
Yeah.
word,
The
this is
easy
the money
solution is to
maker.
ban disposables, and then you fix the problem.
You say that it will still happen. You know what I mean? They'll still send over 50 milligram salts. They'll still. It needs to be regulated. Instead of banning it completely, just put UK regulations in. And I know that sounds like I'm trying to big up UK as though we're amazing. You know, oh America, fuck yeah. Um, if anyone's seen the film, they'll know the reference. But
It's not just you
yeah,
being weird.
yeah, we're not like that. But what I'm saying is the UK regulations that we have in place, yes, cost a lot, but save so many lives. Those lives that you save, put back into the community, and the money comes back to the government. So in America, if they could adopt the same thing rather than just banning everything, the same for India. I know they've got a lot of debts to big tobacco, which is why they've banned vaping because they'll earn no money off it. But theoretically, in a roundabout way, they would. So don't ban vaping. There is no
It's definitely
legitimate
not the
reason
enemy.
to.
And yeah, you say, it's something, we'll keep our eyes on progress and whether or not other countries decide to adopt Thailand's approach. The problem that we've got is the likes of the WHO that are still
We'll
anti-vaping,
be back in a sec.
that are going to be pushing their agenda, and subsequently, that doesn't help matters on a global scale. And these other countries, which we know should not be doing this, are still doing it and going to keep doing it, and feel like they're justified to keep doing this. When we know that there isn't a justification there to do it. They need to embrace what is proven to be the most successful tobacco quit route that the world has ever seen. So let's get on it. But the only, as I say, my frustration, again, down with the likes of the counterfeits, is the waste of time and money for the likes of trading standards, that sort of stuff. These companies, in fact, that's government money. Trading standards having to raid these places to regulate these products, which, as I say, I don't believe are necessary. I believe that we've got plenty of alternatives that do the exact same thing on a much more responsible ecologic responsibility, much more environmentally friendly than these disposable systems. And yeah, as I say, if you were to wipe out the disposables that basically weren't around 12 months ago, yes, okay, they were, but not to the level that they are now, we'd only be where we were 12 months ago, which was still a very, very good place. And arguably a better place than where we are now and where we are heading towards now. So yeah, I'm always going to be anti-disposable. It's just going to be my thing. So we'll see how it fares going forwards.
I'd say the key thing to take away from this is it's not disposables, it's not mechs, it's not vaping. It is literally the user or the distributor seller, shall we say? Because yes, disposables are bad for the environment because they can't be fully recycled.
That's what.
The mechs are bad if you don't know what you're doing. But then once again, that's the same as the recycle thing. If you don't recycle something, it's bad.
Yeah, but you can't recycle it, and there's a difference between not being able to recycle a product and
Well, no,
then not being
you
bothered
could take
to
every
know.
element apart and it would be recyclable. No one's going to do that. It's the same with mechs. If you don't learn, you're not going to know how to use it. So if you don't learn that and do it, it's bad. Vaping, the higher nick, that's down to other countries sending it over here and unscrupulous people selling them and maybe buying them. I will admit I have tried a 35 milligram salt when I was getting proper addicted to nicotine and going for it. There was really no reason. I had a 30 ml bottle and it lasted me probably 4 or 5 months because I used it sparingly because it was that damn strong. But people that don't know any better would probably use it in a week or a couple of days and get heavily addicted and it'd be bad for them. And I would say, yeah, the other thing is governments in certain countries banning vaping because it doesn't bring them money in. But in a roundabout way, it would, because that person will live longer and put more money back into the country they're in. But it's you're not going to change a country with words. It needs action. So there's not much that me and John as two people can do. But if you are watching this right now or listening in the background, please drop a comment, share it, share the link. All external links are appreciated. So the more views that we get on our Vapecast, the more we'll cover elements like this. So if you are more intrigued on what's going on in the world, rather than me and John being more personable, we can do that, or we'll do a good 50-50 mix or whatever. But let us know, guys, because if you do want us to cover things that are going on in the world, we'll do it. We'll try to stay away from politics and governmental sort of things. We did dip in a bit tonight, but if you like it, guys,
Had a little bit
we
with it.
will continue. And yeah, we'll try our best to bring you knowledge as soon as we know.
But it's interesting to see because, you know, I don't expect people to sit down and do research into the world of vaping in the way that we do. So
Yeah.
it's
So if they
not
could just sit back, listen, and be like,
nice
"I
to
didn't
give
know
it in a nutshell without necessarily going, you know, massively into it. But definitely, as I say, I'm going to be keeping an eye on the situation as it progresses in Thailand and those kind of
Yeah.
countries, because I do think that has got some big potential for
legs,
vaping
yeah.
on a global scale.
Definite. Well, I really hope it has got legs, and I hope that Sass, you know, is able to put it through against everyone.
Well, if he's fought it for this long, as I say, you know, he's on the right
Well,
side
yeah,
of the
4
argument.
years, yeah.
Yeah, you know, fingers crossed, he'll get it all the way. And well, I say, well, we will see. We will see. Have you seen? Also, talking about seeing, have you seen Grimm's Greens?
Grimm's Greens. Do you want to rephrase that?
I'm pretty sure it's called Grimm's Greens.
Is he doing a Charlie Bravo?
Yeah, he has gone into the world of it's America, so it's going to be, I think it's Delta 8.
Nice.
The cartridges, okay. I think he's got 3 flavors initially, but yeah, that's the name of it, Grimm's Greens. So he's
when you said that, I thought you misspoke, but okay, Grimm's.
No, that's it. That's exactly it. That's where he's gone with it. So
I know that for you guys out there, I've been suffering dreadfully with toothache, like jaw, everything, like oral. No anal problems this time. But yeah, CBD does genuinely help. So I may have to look into that. What knowledge have you got? Well,
as I say, I only saw it. I think it was yesterday. And it's 3 flavored cartridges. So he is a cannabis user. And obviously he's a massive, probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, vaping advocate in the.
He's into cannabis. He's a massive cracker.
Reviews it, but it's to say it's also an advocate of cannabis as well, and you know its uses in the appropriate manners. So much so that he's now released his own. He's teamed up with the company and they've produced obviously flavors.
Did a collab with a
flavors that he enjoys, and you know, kind of strengthened products that he would enjoy.
Are you dropping him an email to see if he would come on and chat with us about it? Because I'd be interested to see what he's got in the pipeline.
Hey, there's absolutely no harm in asking. Certainly is not any harm in asking. And but yeah, so again, you know, he's got a huge following, and it's great that he is able to portray things in the way that I love the way that he portrays vaping, and the way that basically he carries himself with these things. Yeah. It's a great representation for what we need, because we do. We're like I say, we're a funny industry. We need that representation. We've got to educate people, and we've got to give people knowledge so they can understand what we are genuinely about, and not what so many people believe that we're just about, and that we're just trying to get people addicted to our products so that we can make money, because that's not what we're here for.
Definite. Well, yeah. I've covered all that I know of that's popped off within this week, because as you guys know, it is a daily thing that we do every week. So once per
daily thing that we do every week.
Yeah, it's a daily thing that we do every week. So we do it every day at this day, on this day, at this time per week. So a weekly thing.
Beautiful.
You know, for you English speakers, you might say weekly thing. Fuck you. Yeah, so it's a weekly thing we do on either a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to start off the week before we go into our Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday 9 p.m.-ish lives. We say 9 p.m.-ish because if you are a patron, check us out. You do get loads of giveaways, loads of freebies, loads of discounts. and a private Zoom call as well to boot. So
Jake's
lots of
always
goodies there.
naked.
John, anything you want to add?
No, I was just going to say, if anybody does have anything that they would like us to cover in any of these podcast sessions that we're doing, by all means, leave it in the comments. If there's anything that you think that we've missed, again, by all means, leave it in the comments. We cover what we've come across, but that doesn't mean we're going to come across everything. So please feel free to add in the comments there anything that you wish us to cover, and we'll try and cover that in one of our next future Vapecast sessions. But yeah, I guess at that point there, it seems apt for me to say from hashtag One Job John.
And from me, Two Fake Jake.
Thank you very much for listening to the full entire podcast. If you got to this point, and if you haven't already, of course, make sure you've subscribed, hit that notification bell, and all that jazz. Until next time.
Fast hands!